Thank you guys for joining. I can't tell you how excited I am about everyone being here, logging on, and grab your pen, your digital device, get your paper together. Y'all know I love to talk. So tonight it's going to be filled with lots of great insight, lots of wisdom, things to keep us moving on our journey as women. And of course, I know men join in all the time. We're excited to have the guys joining us tonight as well, as we not only celebrate women excellence and entrepreneurship and business and just the lives that we live, but also just celebrating to the men who support us in the work that we do. We're grateful, we're excited, and we are here to share, impact, and empower. Not only am I going to be empowering and impacting myself tonight, but doing a little bit of that with each of you as well. So we are at about 8:05, and I'm going to go ahead and get started tonight. Kamika, thank you for having me. I'm so excited, so excited, so excited. So I will say that because we're doing this tonight, it's a little bit untraditional than our regular platform. It'll just be me talking and sharing. I am unable to hear you tonight because of where I'm broadcasting from and the camera setup that I'm using. And so we will do what is required and necessary to make tonight just zing. I mean, literally, I am so excited, as you can tell, about what I have to say. So tonight, I want to go ahead and get started and talk about the power of you unleashed. What exactly does that look like? The power of you unleashed. When I think about all of the things that I have been through, the platform that I am given in which to share the work that I do, I realize that I don't do it all on my own. But there are three things that I want to talk about tonight that will help you propel yourself forward as you think about how you're going to move along with the success that you are seeking. So, first, let me start by saying how you define success is going to have to be on your terms. I know that we have tons of people who are consistently trying, to say to us what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing, how all of this works, what does it look like? But at the end of the day, the best thing that you can do is to make certain that you are comfortable in your own skin with the gifts, the talents, and the work that is required of you. So, the first thing that I want to tell you tonight when I talk about the power of you unleashed, a lot of it has to do with how you view yourself and your personal self discipline. Let me ask you this question. How disciplined are you as an individual in the work that you do? Now, remember, we're talking about the power of you unleashed. So, don't type in, don't put in the thread, it's because of these people or these groups, it's because you didn't have the right upbringing. Where, of course, a lot of what we go through does have a place and an impact on what it is for our outcome to be. But at the end of the day, we must be honest with ourselves and recognize that self discipline is one of the things that often trips us up. It trips us up because oftentimes we find ourselves running after this dream and chasing this avenue of success, not because we're uncertain necessarily of what we've been gifted to do and what we're able to do, but think about all the times when someone was whispering in your ear, when someone had an idea that you thought was greater than the one that had been deposited in your heart and in your spirit, greater than the one that you took the time to write that business plan for, and even greater than all of the circumstances that you have been through. Our lack of focus oftentimes gets in the way of our ability to remain and sustain the success that we are seeking. So when it comes to thinking about the success that we want to have, self-discipline, and in most of these that I'm going to talk about, it's going to be related to self. So you yourself have to be disciplined enough to stick to the things that you know will get you the results that you are seeking. But you also have to be self-disciplined enough to know when to change your course of action. Think about that for a moment. When was the last time you literally took a moment to pivot? I mean, your self discipline was so engaged into what it is that you knew that you needed to do that you had to pivot, turn around from the direction in which you were going in order to chart another course for yourself. You see, self discipline not only says I need to be focused, but it also says I need to have some type of intentionality about what it is I seek. My intentionality related to my self discipline and the success that I've been able to succeed in and to achieve says that, Jacquie, you are responsible for not only staying your course, but also sometimes changing the direction of your course. You see, we have a problem with change. Change oftentimes doesn't look like what we want it to. It doesn't come in the package in which we thought it would. It oftentimes doesn't come by the person in which we thought it would. So we often have to pivot if we're going to be the self-disciplined people that we need to be in order to accomplish the things that we need to accomplish. You see, that type of self-discipline allows us to look at a situation or a circumstance and say to ourselves, self, is this leading me down the path that will get me to where I'm trying to go? Self, does this direction in which I am heading, is it going to hinder me or is it going to harm me? Self, with whom should you be going? Are the people in which I'm currently associated with, the people that I am in business with, the people with whom I want to do business, are they still good for me? Are they good for my self-esteem or are they toxic? You see, self-discipline allows you to be a protector of self, not only protecting your head and protecting your heart, but also protects your family and your relationships and your business entity. You see, sometimes our insanity comes from being around too many people or places or things that often jar us. They shake our core, and we're not disciplined enough to know how to stay away, or disciplined enough to know when to let go, or disciplined enough to chart our course in a different direction. You see, the power of you unleashed begins with you establishing a baseline that is required for you and only you, on which you will govern yourself by. Whatever your belief system is, whatever truths and values that hold to who you are and who you are in the process of becoming, those are the self-disciplined things. So tonight, if you're taking notes, write down the word self-discipline. It's something that you need to have in order to sustain your course. There's a word that we often talk about is stick-to-itness. What is it that you are disciplined enough to stick to? Now, I know I may have confused some of you because oftentimes it gets confusing when we talk about pivoting and changing our course of direction as it relates to self-discipline. But those two things actually go hand in hand. You have to be disciplined enough to check and correct in order to redirect yourself. Check, correct, and redirect yourself. Because you can't always listen to everyone because everyone has always something to say. But in listening to everyone, it often allows you to taint the pool of your ideas. I'll tell you this up front. Please stop waiting for permission from other people for you to decide that it's time to step into the reality that you want for your life. Self-discipline allows you to be able to do that. Self-discipline allows you to be able to say, I don't really need permission to pursue my goals, my dreams, the contributions that I want to make to society. Unleashing the power of you allows you to move into this new atmosphere, to step one level up from your current comfort zone. That's all I'm asking, is that you step one level up from the comfort zone that you're currently in and allow yourself to see yourself differently. After we have self-discipline and we've charted our course and sometimes we've pivoted and we've redirected ourselves just to make certain that we're staying on track. The other part of unleashing the power of you outside of self-discipline is self-determination. Think about it. Self-determination. How determined are you to achieve the goals and dreams and aspirations that you have set for yourself? Now, I know that many of us are working for other people or have worked for other people. We're currently in jobs or positions now, but some of you out there are in this space where you are ready to start a second or third career. You're looking for an opportunity to turn your side hustle into a legitimate business. This is where self-determination comes in. Self-determination allows you to look at your past successes, take the good and the bad together, mix them together in whatever capacity in which you need to say, what is the best recipe for my success? Each of us, as I stated, has gone through things that have shaped us, have molded us, have propelled us into some place outside of what we thought we would be doing right now in this particular season in our lives. But self-determination says, I am not giving up on my hopes. I am not giving up on my dreams. I am not giving up on me. That's right. You are responsible for self-determination and not giving up on yourself. Being determined says you can talk to me how you want to, but I don't have to receive how you speak to me. Self-determination says you may have closed several doors in my face, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to stop knocking. Self-determination says, sure, I'm down and I'm out on my luck, but that doesn't mean I don't have something to contribute. You see, many of us get out of the game of entrepreneurship and business and seeking promotions, building relationships, starting families, relocating, whatever it is that's in your heart's desire to do. It is going to be your self-determination that allows you to move forward. You see, self-determination is wrapped up in a bundle of everything. I love the Creole culture. In New Orleans, they have this amazing term called lagniappe. Lagniappe means a little something extra. And oftentimes I like to say it's the trials and tribulations that I have had in life that are my little something extra. It's that one setback too many. It's the one time someone hung up in my face too often. It was that bad report that I may have gotten that allows my self-determination to continue to build. You see, I don't see setbacks as a way to keep me down. I see them as opportunities to look at situations differently so that maybe I can pursue a direction or course or season or opportunity that I may not have considered. You see, my self-determination is not determined by my situation and circumstance. It's not determined by how much money I have in the bank. It's not determined by how many friends I have. It's not determined by how many positions I hold. My self-determination is something that is embedded within inside me, within my heart, within my spirit, within my head, within who I was created to be as a person, that allows me to continue to thrive and strive, not in spite of, but in light of and because of. Think about that for a moment. Many of us often say that we would be successful if it hadn't been for. And so I want you to think about what your if it hadn't been for is, or what your hadn't been for was. And as you think about that thing and you're taking your notes and you're writing it down, explain to yourself in your notes how this situation that you have written down could be turned into a positive. And this is what I mean by that. What life lessons did you learn from what you faced? What takeaways did you get from that conversation or dialogue that hurt your feelings? What motivations came from that broken relationship or being terminated from the job? Because honestly, many of us would not be pursuing the things that we are pursuing if everything was easy peasy. Think about it. If everything in life was easy, would our self-determination propel us so much? Would we have that drive and that certain je ne sais quoi that would just move us forward, propel us differently, so that way we can see challenges as dangerous opportunities, as one Chinese proverb says. You see, we often see challenges as obstacles in our way to be overcome. I like to see my obstacles as opportunities in which I see my way through. Because in my self-determination, when I see my way through what I am facing, it allows me to establish a new baseline from which I can operate. No longer am I operating at a level of mediocrity. No longer am I operating at a level where other people are telling me what to do. No longer am I operating in some space that really wasn't meant for me, but it causes me to rise higher and higher and higher and higher. And as I rise higher, then my perspective changes. My perspective changes to where I was once here, feeling down and sad and low and disappointed and dejected and rejected and disenfranchised, until as I rise above the situation that I have been in, my perspective allows me to look to the left and in front and to the side and all around me to see what else is there, because I've elevated my stance. When you elevate your stance and your position, your self-determination has another level of platform on which to stand. And it's that platform that allows you to see your situation differently. Of course, I get it. I understand. I know that oftentimes our situations and circumstances can take a toll on us. Sometimes they even get the best of us. So trust me, it's not me sitting here telling you that it is going to be easy, because it's not. Anything that we want in life is worth fighting for. Everything that we desire, we can have if we choose to put our mind to it. And that is where self-determination comes in. Our self-discipline and our self-determination, when they are working together in concert, means that we're no longer fighting inwardly. Do you realize that most of our turmoil is not with other people? It is the internal consternation that we have about our goals, our plans, our dreams, our outlook, our outcome. Our goals, our dreams, our plans, our outlook, and our outcome. It is these 5 things that oftentimes keep us in a state of flux, an internal consternation that weighs heavily on our brain. And let me tell you why I'm putting a pin on this area of self-determination. Because when the self is down and when the self is tired, when the self has had it up to here and doesn't want to move on, then we have a tendency to just simply check out. And I do mean check out. We don't want to be bothered. We no longer take phone calls. We no longer take meetings. We're no longer engaged in family opportunities. And this year in particularly of 2019, it has been specifically difficult for many of you. We have all had levels of loss in our families, on our jobs, in our relationships, in our financial resources. Sometimes the odds against us seem insurmountable. But let me tell you, if you would take just a few minutes every day to press pause, that's what it takes. Sometimes we have to press pause to get away from the familiar, to get away from the mundane, to get away from what's on our mind that's weighing heavy on us, what's on our heart that's tearing us apart, what's eating at us in our gut and is making us sick. You see, self-determination says my self-preservation. Yeah, that's it. My self-determination says my self-preservation. My self-preservation, my desire to take care of me is greater than any external or outside factor or force. I know I might be preaching to the choir, but let me just say there are times when what we say about what we want to do is easier said than done. But it is possible because you are able and you are capable. You see, the power of you unleashed requires you to get a handle on you, to check yourself sometimes, to bench yourself often, to make yourself available to yourself so that you can heal thyself. Think about it for a moment. Self-discipline, self-determination leads to self-actualization. Self-actualization. The power of you being unleashed to go wherever it is you desire to go, to get to that next station in life that you know is destined and designed just for you, is dependent upon you getting your self-discipline as well as your self-determination in order so that self-actualization can happen. As much as we as grown folks would like to think that we are grown, we still have a lot of maturing to do. Maturing in how we understand each other and ourselves, maturing in our relationships with other people, maturing in how business works, how promotions work, how life works. For a lot of our young audience that's a part of the Boss Network, for those of you who are engaged in other organizations, whether it's Greek or fraternal, sorority or social club, whatever capacity, a sports team, a professional organization, in whatever arena in which you find yourself, and you believe that there's a greater work for you to do, it will be whether or not you achieve self-actualization will determine whether or not you reach where you believe you can be. You see, self-actualization is about yourself making some surefire decisions about what your capacity is. So your personal capacity comes from how you are made up. For many of you who may have done a Myers-Briggs or Strengths Finders or a DISC personality or 16 personalities, you've discovered a little bit about who you are and what you're made of. The thing that trips you up in your self-actualization is trying to coexist, if you will, with people who are not like you. People who think differently from you, people whose ideas are broader or lesser than the ones that you have, people who speak differently. This is not a diversity conversation. It is about your inner differences that keep you from being able to take charge of you. We can no longer, and we don't have the luxury of letting other people stand in the way. If the power of you is going to be unleashed, then you have to allow yourself to fully mature, fully develop, fully think outside the box in order to engage with where you believe you should be. So if I were to poll the audience right now, and you can type this in the thread, however you want to do it, make some mental notes or write down for yourself. How many of you right now, where you are, honestly can say that if you were to receive a promotion, a lump sum of money, the girl or guy of your dreams, live any place where you wanted, travel, do whatever you wanted to do? How many of you believe today, just the way you are ready? I'm going to pause because I want you to think about that for a moment. How many of you think that you are truly ready to step into your next? Think about that. Are you ready to step into your next? Can you say honestly that right now, with your skill set, your temperament, your personality, your understanding of how the world works, your physical capabilities or not, whatever is happening with you in this moment as you are listening, can you say that you are ready for your next? And I'm going to pose this as a question. If you say yes, you are ready for your next, or you're concerned about it, I have to ask, how can you say that you are ready for your next when you haven't firmly established yourself in your now? How can you say you are ready for your next if you have not firmly established yourself in your now? Self-actualization is not about running from thing to thing and project to project and this job to that job and this business to that business or conference to conference or network to network. Self-actualization is about you rising to the top of your game, the top of your personhood, the top of who you are created to be, so that when you do get to your next, you're not bringing your same old with you. Of course, you do need to bring some of it with you. You need to bring your personality, your charm, your wit, your education, your resources. But that's only one small component of capacity building. You see, when you get ready to go to your next, the power of you being unleashed is going to be you elevating other people. It is going to be you taking other people to the top of their game. But if we've not learned any life lessons in our self-discipline and in our self-determination, then our self-actualization could possibly be in vain. Because we get to this pinnacle, this place of believing that we are all that we can be, without realizing that we're only all that we can be at the level in which we're currently playing. I know it blows my mind every time I think about it, that if I'm playing grand at the level in which I'm at, when I get to my next level, am I taking enough skill with me so I don't play small? You see, oftentimes we get these jobs and positions and promotions and start businesses and these relationships. We do 1,000 things at once. And even if you're just doing one thing and you're really darn good at it, there's always more. I would like to think and believe that the power of you unleashed is the power of you stepping into your next and owning it. I mean, taking charge, doing your best, exceptionally, living with intentionality, living with purpose, living with favor and fervor. Your self-actualization should propel you to a position and station in life that when people come into your presence and you enter into a room, they know that they're going to learn something from you. They're going to gain some knowledge from you. They know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you have something to offer because you are a value add. That's right. You are a value add. And oftentimes we can't get to where we're trying to go because we don't have people around us who add value to our lives. I know it sounds harsh, but that's the harsh reality. The harsh reality is we love the people who are currently around us and we want to take them with us everywhere we go. And that can only happen if we are growing them, maturing them, giving them opportunities to excel at the level in which we're at today, so that if we take them to our next, they will rise as well. You see, we're not doing this on our own. The power of you unleashed is for the sole purpose of elevating your stature that you may bring others along with you. What fun is it? What delight is it? What joy is there in growing your business, growing yourself, growing your company, growing your family or relationships, and you don't take anybody with you? You see, my self actualization is still in motion because I know what my next is, and my next is happening right before my eyes. My next requires other people to also be ready for their next. Let me tell you, when I step into where God is taking me, the people will know that I am there to help elevate where God wants to take them. And that is what your unleashing should do. Your unleashing should be the thing that people have been waiting for. Your unleashing should activate something in other people to the place and the point where they say, you have just been what we've been looking for, what we have been waiting for. It is the thing that they have been searching for all of their lives. Just imagine this, that the power of you unleashed is setting other people up for their success. Absolutely. You will help other people, set them apart from what others have been telling them, to help mature them, nurture them, grow them, even propel them to launch into what is next for them. Self-discipline, self-determination, self-actualization. These are the things that build self-confidence. Now, I know there are a lot of us out here who have a whole bunch of self-confidence, and other people call it conceit, and some people call it cockiness. And I personally do not care what other people call it, because my self-confidence is not rooted and grounded in what other people think. My self-confidence comes from my self-discipline. My self-confidence comes from my self-determination. My self-confidence comes from my self-actualization. And it is for this reason that my self-confidence is built, because I believe in who I am. I believe in the gifts that I have. I believe in the people that I have surrounded myself with, and the future people with whom I will be surrounded. Those individuals who desire to come and walk alongside me in the journey in which I am to take. And that's where your self-confidence comes from. Your self-confidence is built on your ability to rise above the crap, to rise above the crazy, to rise above the confines of what other people think you should be. How you talk, how you walk, how you dress, how you present yourself. Today, I want to challenge you. If the power of you is going to be unleashed, you have to be your own person. Sure, we have belief systems. Yes, we live in society, but none of that should take away from the essence, the core, the stability that is you. And wherever you go, you bring you with you. So don't you owe it to yourself to be your best you? Your self-confidence should come from you knowing that you wake up every day prepared to face the day. Comes from knowing that at the end of your day, you haven't disrespected anyone, that you have met every challenge with excellence, and that you put excellence into everything that you did. And I know for many people this may sound trite, but at the end of the day, and in the course of it all, we are people interacting with people for the purpose of engaging people in the work that we do. So why should we surround ourselves by people who don't inspire us, people that don't empower us, people that don't enlighten us, people that don't challenge us to be our best self? You see, the power of you unleashed recognizes that there is some dynamic, some component, some level of charisma in you that is capable of spurring others on even when they don't feel like it. That you yourself spur yourself on even when you don't feel like it. That just by your mere presence, that you walk into a room, you are able to unleash something great within them because you've released the greatness in you. I identify and recognize that this may be a tough talk for many of us, because when I was having this conversation with myself about what I was going to share, I literally had to take a step back from this dialogue. I had to take a step back and say, am I being true to me in sharing with you what I'm sharing? I, beyond a shadow of a doubt, live what I am saying. I know for certain that who I am and what I'm in the process of becoming is because I believe in me. I often tell young entrepreneurs, individuals who make products, individuals who provide a service, if you don't use your own products, if you don't use your services, If you don't wear the clothes that you make or the makeup that you create, if you don't participate in the organization in which you have started, why would anyone else? People take their hint and clues from creators, from individuals who had a plan, had a dream, saw a path and a vision, and they were willing to walk it out. And this is what the power of you looks like. The power of you unleashed is you walking it out, one foot in front of the other, whether you can see all of where you are going or not. The power of you unleashed is going before you because of the belief that you have in you. There is no amount of dialogue or conversation that anyone can have with me to sway me from what I do for a living. I love what I do. Empowering people who empower people is what I do. It's what I was created for. In whatever manner in which it is chosen, whatever platform is given to me, the words that come out of my mouth are going to be to empower people who empower other people, to help leaders who lead other people, who will then eventually lead other people. It's who I am. It's what I do. It's the thing that gives me joy. I get the most joy out of watching you reach your fullest potential in life. Whatever that potential may be, at whatever level it may be, it is your aha moment. It is the light bulb that comes on in your head, knowing that something I have said, something that you have seen me do, something that you have witnessed in your life that will allow you and cause you to just say, I'm going. I may not see it. I may not fully understand it. I may not know all of what's happening, but I'm willing to trust me and trust the ones I'm walking with to get me there, to go where I need to go. You see, the power of you unleashed is about a journey that you are willing to take with yourself. That opportunity for you to bet on you. I know this beyond a shadow of a doubt. It happens to you because it happens to me. In that space where you have a plan, a goal, or a dream, you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing, but your hope is in something else. Your hope is somewhere else because there's a fear there. There is a falsehood about fear that I got to have this in this hand before I can work on this on the other hand because I need some assurance. I need some certainty. Let me just tell you, for those of you who are listening, who are in that place, you have to take your hands off. You literally have to let go. You literally have to be willing to walk by faith. And whether you are a believer or not, you know that there is some part of you that says, I can't hold on to this thing with this hand and reach for this other thing with the other hand without losing something. Because it's not possible to hold two things that you desperately desire with the same force and power when oftentimes it takes two hands to harness the power of you. It's going to take all of you to harness the power that you have been given, that is about to be unleashed or is already unleashed to do the effective work that you are going to be doing in whatever field or endeavor in which you are working. So, with that in mind, I know some of you may have questions, and as I stated, I am not able to see the thread of what is being typed. So I will like the opportunity to go through this thread and then respond to you. Because I know that in some capacity, in some way, connecting to the Boss Network with Kamika and her team and the amazing women that are part of this network are going to help you grow. So I may not be the one to answer your question. It could be any number of the women who are coming, behind me, whether it's Priscilla Williams or Yvette Gavin, Kimberly Ferguson, Kamika Smith, Cynthia Boykin, all of the women that are leaders and boss influencers in the Boss Network will be able to respond to you because that's what we do. We are here for you. Our goal in life, our responsibility is to elevate. Elevate. That's what we do. And the power of you unleashed will allow you to step into that fray that you are in, to step out of your comfort zone, to step out of your box, to step out of everything that is familiar in order for you to do what is required of you. And it may be something small. It doesn't have to be a big, huge, giant thing. Sometimes it's just a little small step to the left, to the right, in front, in the back, to the side, twirl around. Whatever your step or action or motion needs to be, you need to gain a perspective that allows you to be free to be you. I have had one of the most enjoyable experiences in working with the Boss Network, traveling with Kamika and her team, seeing the great things that she has done. And it is this 10th anniversary celebration in which she has that we are here tonight sharing with you what it means to be a boss influencer, to see women like me, other women of color who are a part of this amazing network, women from all diverse backgrounds and career paths and walks of life who have said, we see value in Kamika Smith and the work that she does with the Boss Network. Now, this isn't a commercial or a plug, it's accolades. It's accolades for a woman who stepped out of her own comfort zone, her testimony of, leaving the Chicago public schools and seeing an opportunity to help elevate women. She surrounded herself by a collective group of women and has helped unleash them, help them to build their power, their self-discipline, their self-determination, their self-actualization, and their self-confidence. It is because of who we are and what we do and the playing field in which we have been given, the platform that allows us to speak openly, candidly, honestly with women from all walks of life from across the country. Kamika's travels to Dubai afforded her that opportunity to be able to share the Boss Network with women across the globe. When you think about what you unleashed looks like, where is it taking you? You see, a part of being unleashed and accepting the power that is in you to harness and to grow and to share means that you're able to not only catapult other people, but catapult yourself into areas that are oftentimes unfamiliar. And it is those uncharted waters, that unfamiliar territory that oftentimes makes us a little uneasy. And this is why I said the journey would not be easy. But it is in that level of being uncomfortable that we often rise to the occasion. If everything was simple and easy and pre-prepared, ready-made already, if you will, I wonder if we would go at it as hard as we do. That thing about us as women and the guys who are out there listening and who are watching, we've seen you go after something full steam, wholeheartedly, because not only was it out of your reach, you wanted to see whether or not you had it within you to attain it anyway. And oftentimes when we put our self-discipline, our self-determination, our self-actualization, and our self-confidence into play, then we're able to see just what we're made of. We're able to see that there are a lot of adjectives that describe us that we hadn't thought of, that we are powerful, that we have capacity, that we are capable, that we are determined by our goals, our dream, and our vision in order to keep striving for what we know is next for us. And so when you think about your own life lessons, I'd like if you would to write down a few of those. What have you learned about yourself? If you could pick adjectives out of the dictionary, or if you have to pull them out of thin air, how would you describe yourself today on this date, which is different from a year ago, 3 years ago, or 5 years ago? Give yourself a moment to write down how you believe you are different. If people had to describe you 5 years ago, what words would they use? If they had to describe you 3 years ago, what words would you use? If they had to describe you 1 year ago to this date, what would they say about you? And when you're thinking about these words, you have to look at them and ask yourself, are these words that truly describe you now? And a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, will these be the same words that describe you? And the reason that I ask that is because there are some words that will pop up that are consistent. These are the words that are consistent to your character, consistent to your nature. They are at the core and at the fiber of your being. They are the things that hold you together when everything is about to fall apart. You owe it to yourself to do that level of Let's go with this word, self-reflection. I'm in a self mood tonight. So if you would give yourself that opportunity to do a little bit of self-reflection and look at these words that describe you, take the good words, the ones that, really do resonate with you. Then I want you to look at some of the words that are not so flattering, some of the other adjectives that other people may have used to describe you. And I say to you, some of those words may be bad words, but when they're put in motion, they may be good because they give you that edge that you need. So I don't want you to get rid of all your edginess. I don't want you to get rid of that firm hold that you have on who you are. But I do want you to kind of relax a little bit so that you're not as rigid and as firm and as stern with yourself, because it's all been stated too often that we are the main person that is in our way. We self-sabotage. And so I want you to be aware of when you're doing a little bit of self-sabotaging and you're not being true to yourself. But when you look at some of those words that aren't so flattering, that describe who you are those words worth taking with you into your future? Are those words worth you holding on to because you have a greater fear of not being successful or reaching the end result? And this is why it's important to measure how you see success. I like when people see every little step as a success. And it helps with the sanity, because when you see every little step as a success, then when you have a failure, you don't blow it out of proportion. And when we blow our failures out of proportion, no matter how small or how minute they can be crushing to our spirit, crushing to our core, crushing to who we are. So we have to sort of learn how to mitigate self-sabotage and using words or terminology or being around people that crush our spirit. And that happens even with our children. So we have to be cautious about how we talk to each other, talk to our children, talk to people with whom we're in relationships, in friendships, however it works out for you. Make certain that you're taking the good, the edgy, the unique about you with you, and leave the trash behind. As we roll into 8:45, 7:45, 5:45 for those of you who are on different coasts. If there are questions that are there, please type them in and we'll have that ability to respond to some of those questions. Tonight, I am unable to answer questions because I'm unable to hear because of how we're broadcasting this across the United States for our audience. In salute to Kamika and the amazing work that she has done with the Boss Network. We are broadcasting through multiple platforms tonight so that we can expose you to an amazing, phenomenal woman, a founder and creator of a network that is for women, about women, by women. It is that space and place where we engage in business dialogue and conversation. It is that space and place where we talk to one another about the ups and downs and the ebbs and flow of everything that surrounds us in life. And a lot of more bosses are going to be born tonight. A lot of more bosses are going to be born after every Monday night through the rest of this year as you listen to Mentor Mondays. Our goal and responsibility that we have, that we feel in our heart, compelled to reach out and share how we've gotten to where we are. And of course, everything we've done hasn't been, simple. I am not one to say that anything that we do when you're trying to grow yourself, grow your business, grow your family members, grow anyone around you is to be taken lightly, because you are a steward over yourself and other people and the things that have been put in your hand. So I would like if you would treat those things that have been put into your care with the same type of quality and care that you're giving yourself. My challenge to you as I prepare to close tonight and, get online after this and look at what you've asked, some of the questions that you have, some of the comments that you've made. I want to challenge you tonight, one day this week, to take a respite, an RESPITE, a respite. That is a small amount of time that you take for yourself to step away from the fray. When was the last time you took a moment for yourself? In your car, in your shower, in your prayer closet, a walk around the park, no kids, no pets, no friends, no cell phone, no nothing, no music. When was the last time you took a moment for you? Let me tell you, The power of you is so wrapped up into your personal health and well-being that self oftentimes is the last person on the to-do list. Look at your to-do list. Are you on it? What have you done for you lately? So you have to ask yourself these poignant questions sometimes in order to be able to find your center, to balance, to sometimes it just a little exhale can go a really long way. I'm excited to have had this opportunity to talk to you tonight. I thank all of you for joining. It has been amazing. I cannot wait to read your comments, to hear what you've had to say, to take a few moments after I close out this broadcast to respond to you. So that way, you know that I am connected to you and that you are connected to me. And it is together that I believe that we are better and we can change the way in which we live, change the way in which we see ourselves, change the way in which we see other people, because perspective matters. And it is that perspective that you have of yourself, your dynamics, your ability, everything about you that allows the power of you to be unleashed. Have a great night, everybody. It's been wonderful. Take care, all.